What is going on? It's the Nintendo Powercast slash House of Mario slash damn. What's
Retro
the other
Logic.
one? Retro Logic. We're like the Voltron of gaming podcasts coming together right now to talk about the Nintendo Direct that just happened. So, Drew, real quick, introduce yourself. Tell us all about the show that you do and all the stuff.
Yeah, so my name is Drew Agnew. I'm a rural farmer from South Australia who also loves Nintendo. I'm up at almost 1 o'clock in the morning seeing what announcements we've got coming out. And for the most part, pretty happy with what I've seen. But yeah, I do a show called the House of Mario, a Nintendo podcast, which is, probably what you expect from, listening to you guys and a lot of other of us keen Nintendo fans in the community. But yeah, just share my passion with my best mate, Bryce DeWitt, and talk all about Nintendo and have some fun. We're a little bit crude sometimes, but that's sort of our flavor here in Australia. So
I love it. Fun fact, my oldest son lives in Australia right now. So
oh really?
Yeah. He moved there with his girlfriend the beginning of the year. So kind of cool. Dan, tell us all about you.
Your oldest son, what is he, like 12? Like, you don't look old enough to have like a son that moved away.
I'm 41, and
no way.
My oldest is 21. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't look a day above 35.
I got started young. So, well, hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Dan from Retro Logic. I do a retro gaming trivia and news podcast every other Monday, Tuesday. We have an episode coming out today, actually, with an interview from one of the developers who made the Game Boy Operator, which is a little device that allows you to dump your saved files onto your computer. It's really high quality, and the interview went really well, so go check that out. All my stuff is at retrologic.games. So that's it. That's it for me.
Love it. And who's got the are you near a train tracks right now?
Yeah, that's me. I took my lunch break early at work to meet up with you guys because I can't not talk about Nintendo. And I'm outside in our little courtyard, and there's a train track nearby. So if you hear some trains, that's just the hype train. That's all it is.
It's the hype train. I love it. That's great. So
that's Reggie coming.
I'm gonna get this the Direct playing in the background or on the side over here for us, so we can just have some essentially some B-roll going on. And so Drew, kind of kick us off. What do you got a grade? Do you have a score for the Direct?
I'm not 100% sure just yet. I was looking back at the announcements. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that I really was happy to see, but I guess there was nothing that really blew me away. But honestly, I would have been pretty happy even if there wasn't a Direct in September. I would have waited until early next year. There's still plenty coming out this year that I'm excited for, and I'm going to get a lot of time out of. So just the fact that, we started off the show with a brand new Fire Emblem game that's coming out very soon, early next year. I think that's really exciting. Pikmin 4, obviously at the end we saw brand new Zelda game finally get its name, Tears of the Kingdom, which is gonna take a little bit because we've been so used to call it Breath of the Wild sequel. So just coming into it now, being like, oh, Tears of the Kingdom, it's gonna be a little bit hard to get used to, but just all the sort of bits in that trailer, it looked pretty cool. And for me, actually, one game a lot of people won't care about, but a new game in the Atelier series got announced, Atelier Ryza 3, which I was pretty happy to see. That's become a series that I've really enjoyed over the last year or so. So yeah, a lot of stuff. There's a few too many farming games though. Seemed like how many farming games can they put in the one Direct? Like it was insane. Like, we saw Harvestella again. There was 2 Rune Factory games, and there was even more than that. There was some other games that we hadn't heard of before. But yeah, I think overall it was good. It was a 7, I think, if I had to put a score on it.
There you go. Yeah. Dan, you're still with us, yeah? Oh, wait. The camera's going on and off. Let's see. We're doing it live. Oh, hang on. Let's get him back in here.
Am I back?
Hey, you're back.
Okay.
You're back.
I'm just going to move around.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Trying to find the best Wi-Fi outside the office or whatever.
Exactly.
I get it. What was your score for the you guys are traffic outside now? There's
I love the ambition though. It's awesome.
Yeah, I do too. Like, let's do it, baby. So,
We're making
what
it
do you
work.
think?
Oh man. Okay, so going in, and it was like RPG, 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 farming sim, RPG, boxing, RPG,
Mm.
and then Miyamoto shows up, and we're all thinking, "Oh, great, Super Mario Brothers movie news, awesome," which I would have been happy about, and we got nothing of that. And then he goes, "Today I want to talk about Pikmin," and my brain exploded because Pikmin is just one of my favorite Nintendo franchises. And honestly, I'm just glad that they're talking about Pikmin at all. It just seems like if it's not the mobile game, then what even is it anymore? So just the fact that there's Pikmin coming made this like a 9 out of 10 for me, where it started out as like maybe a 5. So that's a very personal thing, but honestly, Pikmin did it for me. Just
That's
like
great.
we have a title and a screenshot, but like I'm happy about it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. It's great that we're seeing like the thing for me is I love it when there's a healthy Nintendo. We can get some of these. We use the word niche on our podcast way too much,
Yeah.
but it's kind of it's a little more of a niche title, right? And like I was talking in my Discord, I'm like, man, it would have been so rad to see like F-Zero or Punch Out or Star Fox,
Yeah.
something
Mhm.
along those lines. That's like they're not as well like it's only when Nintendo's healthy that they can like still like probably sell 1 million copies of some of those titles, but
Yeah.
that's enough to make them worth their time for development, right?
Mhm.
So I think for me overall it's probably definitely I would say it's a solid 8, maybe 8.5 out of 10. Something for everybody, which is great. We're looking at It Takes Two right now, and I mean I think that's a stellar title. Of course it's been out forever, right? Like sometimes we see some of these games finally make their way to the Switch, but it's well after they've been out on these other systems, and so sometimes we feel a little bit late to the party with that. We did see a handful of cloud games with the Resident Evil stuff, which is like it's great that those are making their way there, but I have not really heard anybody talk about a good experience when it comes to cloud gaming with the
No.
Switch. I know for me when I tried, I think Control, it worked good, but I mean, I'm fortunate to have fiber internet, and I'm hardwired. My Switch is hardwired, so like, but trying to do that stuff wired like handheld or something, it's gonna be a rough go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you see a lot of these games. We got like a little bit more info about things that were already previously released, which I'm excited for. Like I'm hyped to play Front Mission again. I'm happy to see an obscure Fatal Frame game. We're looking at Fatal Frame right now, which is like a really great survival horror game. I loved it on the Wii U. This game in particular has never come over to the States, so it's cool to see that. But there wasn't a whole lot that was like, here's a brand new thing, except for Pikmin, which we didn't know existed. But even the Zelda announcement was like, here's the name, which is awesome, but it's a lot of that on this direct.
Yeah, Bayonetta 4, Mario plus Rabbids. We're looking at some Xenoblade expansion stuff right now. Yeah, not a lot of, and I think that's what gets people the most hyped, right? When there's the brand new, like if Miyamoto had come out and said, and here is a trailer for Odyssey coming holiday 2023, Odyssey 2 or something like that, or the next Mario title. I think
Donkey Kong. Let's get Donkey Kong. Come on,
Donkey
guys.
Kong, something, yeah.
Yeesh.
Even the Mario Kart, the Wave 2 or the Wave 3 was just 2 games or 2 tracks, right? So that was, I think that had some people just a little bit bummed out that we weren't seeing more. And then it's weird seeing like the obscure holiday track as well. It's like, playing a Christmas track all the time just seemed like, I don't know. It's a little bit weird, but hey, it's more Mario Kart tracks, so I'm definitely here for it. But the big game, the biggest announcement for me that I'm like completely shocked that they were able to work out the licensing is GoldenEye 64, right? GoldenEye making its way to it looks like it's coming to the expansion pack.
Yeah.
Which that is wild because usually something like that licensing runs out. So I'm just like, how did they secure this deal? And not only do we get it on the Switch with online multiplayer, but they're going to be putting GoldenEye on Xbox as well. That's going to get some of that HD like treatment that Perfect Dark got in like way back in the Xbox arcade days. So I talked about it during the direct or right after. Here's the pro tip: if you've got the 64 controller, you want to play GoldenEye like a modern shooter, just put your left hand on the D-pad and move around, and your thumb on the stick, and you're playing GoldenEye like a modern shooter. So there you go. There's your pro tips. But are you guys like Drew? Are you excited for GoldenEye?
Yeah, I didn't really grow up with it that much. Nintendo 64 for me was going to friends' places, and none of them had GoldenEye. They had Mario Kart and Smash Bros and all that.
Crazy.
So yeah, I don't have that much nostalgia for it, but it's obviously a game that I've played other ways when I was older with emulators and all of that. I don't have a physical cart, so I'm glad that it's coming. I've got so many friends that are just over the moon about this game coming to online play. So I'm just going to get demolished by everyone who had it in their childhood, and I'm going to go in there and just be like, oh, this game's it feels old, but everyone's going to go and smash me. But I'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than having all the spawns memorized and just putting proximity mines where they where you spawn, and you just cannot. You can't, like, yeah, I'm that guy. Sorry, I'm sorry. Dan, how about you? Excited for GoldenEye?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm more cautiously optimistic about it. I actually played it recently through the campaign on original hardware, and the campaign runs really well. It's still really fun. Totally holds up. But everybody loves GoldenEye for the multiplayer. And if you go back and play the multiplayer on an original console, it's nigh unplayable because of the frame rate and because of the lack of strafing. And like you showed kind of the trick where you could reverse your hands and make it work, but there's still really nothing better for shooters on a console than two sticks. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope that they throw some of the optimizations they're putting in from Game Pass over to the NSO version, because that version, I read that Xbox tweeted about how, it has updated frame rates and it's in 4K and online multiplayer. So hopefully some of those optimizations come over, but it's yet to be seen. So I'm gonna reserve my hype until I can play it and see what they did to improve it. Because original hardware GoldenEye multiplayer now is rough.
So I can help with that. The way I was talking about holding the controller, you have to set the control settings to like 1.2.
Oh, okay.
And then you literally play GoldenEye exactly like a modern first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Strafing and everything. Back in the day, 1.2, everybody they instructed us to use the C buttons. I don't know if you guys remember this from like Nintendo Power and stuff like that, but like,
oh yeah, I don't even think. Yeah,
you did all your moving, and Turok was the first one to incorporate running with the C buttons, but then looking, well, that's the opposite of how we do it now, right? That's putting your look on the left, and that's not how we do it. So
right.
So if you set it, I think it's 1.2, and then you can play, and they actually, if you go through all the different settings, there is one where you can play with two 64 controllers.
I remember that one.
And do two.
Oh God.
Do the two sticks, right?
Yeah. So, hey, it works,
Yeah.
And then all you got to do is switch the controllers. Put number 2 in your hand, in your left hand, and number 1 in your right hand, and you're golden, if you will. So,
that means I got to go and buy another controller. I've only got the one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I went crazy when they first announced the 64 controllers. I'm sure you're all shocked, but I had to get all 4. I'm like, if we're gonna, and immediately had my aunt and uncle come over, and my wife, my aunt and uncle, we all played a bunch of the 64 games, and then we ended up even playing Mario Party with the 64 controllers as well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
They need all the colors, man. I want to see them come out with the colors.
My wallet would be ruined, but yes, yeah. So we'll finish up on this topic here, but what was your biggest like surprise, or what got you the most hype? Drew, we'll start with you.
I didn't really have like a massive oh my god moment, but probably at the very start, just like, oh, new Fire Emblem game. I've sort of recently appreciated Fire Emblem a lot more, just with Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Like, I really enjoyed that game. So just like the idea of a brand new game in the series, I'm looking forward to it, because I've always been like a fan of turn-based RPGs, but the sort of the strategy aspect of it didn't have me as big a fan. But I think now after playing that game, I can appreciate it a lot more. So I'm looking forward to Fire Emblem. I think Zelda is just a staple. I think we're all looking forward to that, and I'm so glad that it's not coming out at the end of next year. Looking at May for 2023, so that's going to be great. Looking through like the list here, we got like, actually looking at it, we got like a heap of stuff, like even like a new Kirby game and Octopath Traveler 2. My least favorite moment of of the direct was Mario Strikers Battle League update. I'm like, that's what I expected from the update. It does nothing to sort of help the game, but that is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I've like even seen like the indie game Tunic come in the Switch. That was previously unannounced for the system. It was only sort of getting ported to PlayStation. So it's good that was coming. But it's just, for me, it was just like a heap of little games that I'm like, oh, that was sort of my direct. There wasn't anything massive. Because like, as far as like games I'm really looking forward to this year would be like Pokemon, and we don't really need anything from the direct as far as information on those games. So I didn't really have any expectations, but I don't know, I feel satisfied anyway.
Yeah, right on.
Go. Dan, how about you?
I mean, I already gushed about Pikmin 4, so I'll leave that. That's like high number one for me. And if you're like curious about what the deal is with Pikmin 3 Deluxe is the best game in the series so far, and it frequently goes on sale. So go buy it and play it if you're curious about Pikmin. If you like real-time strategy, if you like baby's first real-time strategy, that's what it is. and it's beautifully represented and really looks really, really good and really fun. But other than that, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with like, there was a lot of really cool little things. Tunic obviously was great to see. But I mean, like, it was just a lot of stuff that we already knew. Oh, Radiant Silvergun, that's cool. Radiant Silvergun, an old Treasure developed shmup. That's awesome. Kirby Return to Dreamland was a high point. Yeah, so yeah.
I get it. It seemed like a very diverse direct, right? Yeah. I think one of the Fire Emblem for me was hype. I was like,
this RPG is heavy, but yeah.
It was and farming sim, but I mean, like, I think looking at the success of Animal Crossing, I think the audience is somewhat there for a lot of these farming sims too, right? Like, I think there's, yeah. I think, I mean, there's a lot of similarities when it comes to Animal Crossing and farming sims. I mean, Animal Crossing is not quite farming, right? But we're seeing some fishing, and we are seeing some a little more adventuring and stuff with some of these games. Yeah. And so, but for me, Fire Emblem right off the bat, like, and it's not a series that I like really like lose myself in, but I have a good time with it when I do play it, right? And the Octopath Traveler 2, fantastic series. Don't sleep on it. Like, if you happen to be an Xbox owner and you have Game Pass, you can try the first one that way. And I believe it's also available on mobile. But if you've got a Switch and that's all you're playing, and you like JRPGs, especially kind of that, like, I almost want to call them 32-bit, like they're like the modern 16-bit JRPGs. Octopath
2D HD.
Yeah, there you go. 2D HD. I love it. We're looking at Theater Rhythm or whatever from Square Enix. Probably one of the strangest titles. Like, I don't know what it's like. You feel like they're kind of just like milking their IPs at this point for like, how can we get another $60 by adding Final Fantasy to a name, or adding the name Final Fantasy to a game.
Nintendo never does that.
Oh no, never.
Actually, I really like what they're doing with it though. Like some of my favorite franchises, I'd love like a music rhythm game all about it, like Pokemon or Mario, Zelda. Like it'd be awesome going through all the tracks from all the games and just all the unique sort of settings, and you just got it in this like really nice package, just with just how it's presented with all the characters, and it's showing now just like it's having DLC from other Square Enix series like Octopath Traveler and Nier, Live Alive, all that. I think it's actually pretty cool, but I'm not like I'm probably not a big enough Final Fantasy fan to go and pick up something like this. But if it was for one of my favorite franchises, I reckon it would be pretty cool.
And that's an interesting perspective too, because it's not. I have very little pull towards any of these games, so that may be why I kind of look at it like meh. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, playing the original Super Mario Brothers like score and some other stuff like Mario 2, that kind of stuff, that might be a little more enjoyable. Especially, I'm picturing like watching the gameplay kind of happen as you're just doing the rhythm game, like that might, like the old school retro gameplay happening, that might be kind of fun actually. So that's a very interesting take. We're seeing some more Mario plus Rabbids, which is great, but we knew it was coming. Somebody is like, wait, do you get to actually play as the characters instead of the Roomba this time? But I kind of doubt that's going to be the case. And but I think one of the bigger surprises for me, and it's not that it's even something that I have any nostalgia for, like I just said, but the Final Fantasy remake. I don't have the actual name, like
Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion.
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, there we go. That, like, it's not something that I have nostalgia for, but it's a series I want to. My PS5 actually is showing up today, and I'm excited to try the Final Fantasy VII remake, right? And so seeing that also, I'm like I'm a big fan of Xenoblade, and I know I would love these remakes of the Final Fantasy VII stuff, and Crisis Core looks to be on point with that. So we got a lot of Rune Factory stuff. I think the Tales remake is going to be big for some people, right? It's again, it's not something that I have any pull towards, but I have a feeling a lot of people are gonna enjoy it. So yeah, great. Like I said, my biggest hype, of course, GoldenEye, but then seeing, Fire Emblem, Crisis Core, Octopath Traveler 2, and then getting the name for Breath of the Wild 2 is also great. So we're gonna wrap up right there. Drew, again, tell us all the places people can find you, listen to your show.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at iDruby, and you can find my show, The House of Mario, on all your podcast platforms, wherever you're listening to this.
Awesome. And Dan, same for you.
Yeah, so Retro Logic is the name of the podcast and the website and the blog. I'm on Twitter at RetroLogic Games, and everything can be found, Discord server and all that can be found at the website retrologic.games. So go check us out if you want some fun retro gaming trivia.
Awesome. Guys, I'm N64 Josh everywhere, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.